Hey, what's up and good morning, everybody. Welcome to IC Central Virginia. If you're joining us from here in our local campus areas, you know that it is chilly, it is rainy, and it is frozen here in Virginia, much of Virginia. Don't know what it's like where you are, but excited to be with you this morning. We have power. We're excited about that. We're hopeful that that is still a thing as we go throughout this Saturday. Super excited to be with you guys this morning. Super excited about what we're learning this month. And we're learning about kindness and how kindness is how we show others that they're valuable. And one of the things that I've been saying in kids worship, I've been saying in our morning devotions, is kindness is not something that we do to make ourselves look awesome. That's not why we're kind. That's not the why, boys and girls. The why behind why we show kindness, the big reason why, God shows kindness to us first. And out of that is us being kind to other people. We are like a mirror. And if our mirror is working the way it's supposed to work, then you and I will reflect God's kindness out to the people around us. And if you remember last week, our bottom line is be kind because God was kind to us. And that's literally leading the whole way throughout this entire month. So today we're going to talk about another group of people that God calls us to be kind to, that the Bible calls us to be kind to. That's our family and our friends. So our bottom line for this week as we go into kids worship tomorrow morning is be kind to your family and friends. Now, here's the thing with that. You and I both know that sometimes that's hard, particularly, especially with our family, right? I mean, we've got that, maybe we've got that little brother or sister that, you know, sometimes we're just butting heads with, we just fight and we argue and we say mean things and we do mean things and we just, you know, and kind of like siblings do, brothers and sisters do, right? You know, sometimes we do that with our parents. You know, we argue, we fuss, we complain, we don't always, we aren't always thankful for our family or even our friends. And, you know, what we might say is sometimes we take those people for granted. And what that means is we don't always appreciate how valuable they are. We aren't always thankful for all the things that they do in our lives. And you know, I'm thankful for my family, and I'm sure, and I know I don't always show that. But you know, I think about the kind words that my family say to me, the encouragement that my family gives me, the love that they show me, just the cool things that they do that I kind of get to watch them do, and how they just make me feel loved and appreciated, but they also show me God's goodness in my life. You know, but again, it sometimes can be hard. And so as I was thinking about our bottom line this week, I thought about Joseph. Joseph from the Bible. If you remember Joseph from the Bible, if there was a guy who we could say could be really upset with his family, it might be Joseph. If you remember Joseph's story, Joseph was one of many brothers, and probably he was the favorite. His dad was Jacob, who was Israel, the person Israel, not the country Israel. He's a part of starting that. But Jacob, was the father of Joseph. And time out. Ms. Melissa, I'm thankful for you and your family too. Thank you so much for that. It's good to have family and friends who kind of are the same thing, right? So Jacob has all these sons, and Joseph is probably the favorite, and he knows it, And he kind of plays off of that, and the brothers kind of know it, and they kind of play off of that, and it creates this fighting and this arguing and all this stuff and all this tension. And Joseph has some dreams, and those dreams are from God. I mean, he's talking about how he's going to kind of lead the way in some ways, and that doesn't make the brothers too happy. And so they decide, you know what, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's kill him. And then they talk themselves out of killing him, like that's a nice thing that they could do. No, we won't hurt him. We won't kill him. We'll just throw him in a hole in the ground. We'll do that. Oh, wait, no, okay, we're not going to do that. Wait, here comes some traders. We'll sell him to the traders, and they'll take him off, and then we'll pretend that a wild animal ate him. And that's what we'll tell Dad. We'll tell Dad that the wild animals ate Joseph. And we know Joseph ends up in Egypt, and in Egypt he receives a lot of blessing and favor, and in that he gets accused of doing something really wrong, which he didn't do, and he ends up in prison, and he interprets some dreams for some guys, and he says, remember me when you go to the Pharaoh, and well, they don't. Particularly the one who should have remembered didn't. And so Joseph sits in jail, and then the Pharaoh has some dreams, and Joseph's able to interpret the dreams, and he becomes very powerful and very wise, and he's able to prepare Egypt and the surrounding land for a famine, and it ends up his brothers are sent to Egypt to buy some food, and they meet Joseph, but they don't know it. And they kind of have this back and forth. Joseph knows who they are, but they don't know who Joseph is, and there's this... The story is going on and on and on, and Joseph ultimately reveals himself to them, and the family is kind of reunited, and there's this kind of joyful reunion. Joseph brings all his family down to Egypt. They're going to live in the land of Goshen and settle and be prosperous in Egypt, and they've got God's favor. But Joseph's dad, Jacob, is getting older. And toward the end of Genesis, in chapter 50, chapter 48, 49, 50, Jacob dies. I mean, he's an old guy, and he dies. And so the brothers are going to go bury him. And then I want to read what kind of happens and show you the importance of being kind to our family and friends. Think about all that story that happened, and then think about this. So the brothers get together, they bury their dad Jacob, and Ms. Anna's book, actually, she's in her Bible right here, it actually says Joseph's kindness. And so starting in verse 15, it says, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said to one another... Now here these brothers again getting together, not with Joseph, not having a family meeting. They're going to get together and have this meeting. Saw that their father's dead, they said to one another, if Joseph is holding a grudge against us, he will certainly repay us for all the suffering we have caused. What do they say? Joseph's powerful. You know what? If he's mad, he's going to get us back. He is going to get us back right here. It's coming. So they sent this message to Joseph. Before he died, your father gave a command. Say this to Joseph. Please forgive your brother's transgression and their sin, the suffering they have caused you. Notice in the message that they send to Joseph, they know what they've done. They say, listen, we've done mean things to you. We've sinned against you. Can you forgive us? This is what they're saying to Joseph. Now, they're saying that their dad says this. Therefore, please forgive the transgressions of the servants of God. Therefore, please forgive the transgression of the servants of the God of your father. Joseph wept when their message came to him. Joseph wept when their message came to him. And I think you're going to see why in just a second. His brothers also came to him, bowed down before him, and said, "We are your slaves." Remember, Joseph's very powerful. He's like the number 2 guy in Egypt. And they say, "We are your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You planned evil against me. God planned it for good, to bring about the present result, the survival of many people. Therefore, don't be afraid. I will take care of you and your children." And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Man, check that out. The brothers who despised him, hated him, were angry with him, who threw him in the hole, who sold him into slavery, which caused him to be accused of a crime he didn't commit, which caused him to be thrown in prison, which caused him to seemingly be forgotten by other people who should have remembered him, who he did favors for, responds to his brothers with weeping. He gets this message that says, "Man, please forgive your brothers. Forgive the mean and awful things they've done. Forgive the sins they've committed against you." It causes him to weep. And it causes him to weep because Joseph has this really cool perspective on life. He has this really cool perspective on his family. He doesn't look at all of these things as necessarily terrible. He doesn't see them for the individual things that happen, boys and girls. He sees the big picture. And what's the big picture? Man, you thought you were doing evil. And it was evil. There's no denying what they did was evil. But he said, "You planned evil against me." But God took that and he made it awesome. And he made it his. And so Joseph, who has all the authority to punish his brothers, he could have, boys and girls. He absolutely could have. But instead he showed kindness to his family. He said, "No, I see God's big picture." Man, when you see your family, do you see God's big picture? Do you see and appreciate and are thankful for the people that God put in your life? Your family, your friends, the people who support and who help you and love you. And I know sometimes maybe it doesn't feel that way, but that's the people that God put right around you. What if we think about them like Joseph thinks about his family? Now, they're probably not going to tell your parents that you got eaten by a wild animal. I sure hope not. But, they might fight and argue with you. They might throw something at you. They might say mean things to you. They might even kick you or pinch you or do something mean to you when your parents aren't looking. And, it gets you really upset. But think about this. Joseph, who had all these really mean things done to him, he looks at his brothers and says, "Don't be afraid. God planned all the mean things that you did. He took them because he planned them for good, and he used that to save many people." He says, "Don't be afraid. I will take care of you and your children." Boys and girls, one of the great ways that we can show God's kindness to the people in our homes, our family, our friends, and the people who are watching us. Maybe sometimes we don't think about that, but boys and girls, I'm telling you, people are always watching us. Not in a mean, ugly way, but they just are. They see how we react, especially if they know we love Jesus. How are we going to react? We got to think like Joseph. I'll take care of you. I love you. Can you do the same for me? Can we show forgiveness both ways? Can we show grace both ways? Can we show love both ways? God tells us to be kind to our family and friends, to take care of our family and friends, and so we see that there. Timothy would write in 1 Timothy chapter 5, as we kind of wrap this up, he's talking about taking care of widows when he says this. But man, I think it's true to widows and maybe to just our family in general. He says, man, I'm not quoting it word for word, but he says, you should take care of your family, because if you don't, you look like a person who doesn't love Jesus. Boys and girls, it is important that we are kind to our family and friends. We take that kindness that God has shown us and we reflect it out into the people around us. So boys and girls, whatever happens this weekend, stay safe, stay dry, stay warm, get a good blanket and cuddle up. Maybe there's a game your family can play and do, but really be safe. If you're in Central Virginia, it's icy and cold. But I want you to remember that, to be kind to your family and friends. That is a way in which we show God's kindness to other people, in a way that we reflect the kindness that God has done in our own heart and life. If you're checking this out, remember we are totally online tomorrow, February the 14th. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate that. That's I'm humbled by that. We are totally online tomorrow. Preschoolers all the way to adults. So, grown-ups, I'm going to talk to you first. Worship services at 9:15 and 10:45 live. You can find that on the Heights Facebook page. You can find it on your Roku app. You can go to live.thb.church and you can watch our service tomorrow online. If you have a preschooler, we have Tiny Town Worship. That is at 9:15. That's not live, so you can find a link for that here at our Facebook page or on our YouTube page, the Heights Kids, and you can watch that anytime you want. And at 9:30, you'll be able to find our virtual kids worship. That'll be, again, here on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. Check that out. Tomorrow in virtual kids worship, we're looking at the story of Ruth and Naomi from Ruth chapter 1 and 2. So that'll be really cool to see how God shows us what it looks like to be kind to our family and friends in those verses, in those chapters of the Bible. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this morning. Have a great and wonderful Saturday and Sunday. We look forward to worshiping with you online tomorrow. If you need anything, you can always send us a message right here on our Facebook page. Miss Melissa or myself will get back to you immediately once we get that. God bless you guys. Love you, and we'll see you soon.